field day. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
All right, so this is all set up. You can call to order. All right, at your way.
We're not going to wait for Tony. We'll start with that.
It's 5 after, he can join in. I guess.
What do we need for Paul?
No, we don't have it. Okay.
Seven.
It's a 7 board, so.
So it's 2 quorum. So
This is W86FQI, Jim Huntley, opening the vice president, opening the BIARC board meeting. Since Alan is absent today. The time is 12:06. And we'll start with approval of the minutes from, well, we can't, since we don't have them, do we?
Minutes.
Oh,
I put the
Oh, yeah.
report
Email the
in.
minutes out.
has
Yeah.
everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
I don't know. It's been out for a while.
I move to approve as submitted. This is William, NH618
I'll
moving.
second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. And we'll skip over the.
No, we don't have to.
oh, wait,
He submitted it.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. So without Tony here, has everybody had a chance to look at the treasury report?
Yeah, that's one.
William, NH618 moves to accept the report subject to audit.
Except what?
Accept the treasurer's report subject to audit.
Subject to order. Yeah.
And that's David, KH6CZ, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion, what do you say, passes or no motion?
Passes, carries,
Approved,
whatever.
carried, yeah, passes.
Like a kidney stone. But you get that.
Hopefully, yeah. Onto the committee reports. And we'll start with the public service communications. David.
Yes, communications. We participated just as it's not really a true function of PSCC, but we participated, Joe and I, in the
Jim.
Can you speak a little bit louder?
how about if I stand up? That's coming in better?
Well, no, it's not, it's just not coming into my ears. I'm a little hard to hear.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to give a short report on our exercise yesterday with Hilo Union School, and very well received. Over 100 students participated. Thanks to William for being on the other end of the RF there. You stood up very well for us out there in the field, William. Thank you. And Joe was the primary operator down at our end as well. So we also had Jim Tater on hand, and he was focused on handhelds, and there were a lot of kids running around the courtyard in there with walkie-talkies, handhelds, and various equipment, and they were having a riot. So everybody had a great time, and it was well received. The trifolds were very good, provided lots of good information. They were all walking away with them. So it's a good exercise all around. And with that, PSCC, we're still looking for members to join the group. And Les, we were kind of the two guys that were sort of at the end of the last year, kind of holding it together. And Tony was available as well, but Tony's been pulled away, and you've moved on as well. So we're looking for new members, and I keep repeating that, but hopefully the message will get out to new members of the club. And basically, we're just all about bringing stakeholders together in the amateur radio community and encouraging other clubs and MCOM groups to develop common principles so that we can talk to one another and collaborate, cooperate, and keep MCOM prime consideration with the committee. We also represent the radio community and BIARC in particular with other agencies and with the county, and that we have a representative on the VOAD and meet monthly at least with VOAD. We're a voting member in that group, so anything of importance is brought to the board here, and that's an ongoing exercise that we, Tony and I participate in primarily. Excuse me. We've got Tony's been pulled away a little bit as well with this stuff. So there's a dynamic around these groups and membership thereof, but we're continuing our representation there. And going forward, it's just more of the same. Don't have any specific plans in place other than to continue. We participated, as I said, in, hey, Tony. I mentioned your name, so you showed up.
At 12:11, Tony Kitchen, WH60 EVI joined the meeting.
Yeah. So I was just saying that we're a member of the Hawaii VOAD net. We participate in their monthly repeater test of Mauna Kea and out of Honolulu. We participate in the Siren Net monthly as well for the emergency siren network around the island. And we do local nets for Volcano, HPP, and other communities up to the Hamakua, etc. So we try to stay active in those venues. We participated in the Makani Mahili exercise, and it was kind of, I think our participation was kind of incidental rather than planned, but some of us jumped in on that anyway. So that was a good event. And we've participated in past exercises that RACE has put on as well. We're also doing the WinLink training and on mapping, and that's going really well. Very interesting exercise. You know, Jim's involved, Tony and myself, I think, are three participants here in our group, so or in our club. And we do the ETO or WinLink training on Thursdays as well. And then we're participating in CERT, FCC licensing, promotion, etc. So let's continue on those veins primarily for the rest of the year. And as new opportunities evolve, we'll jump on those. We left our name with the organizers of the elementary school exercise, indicating that we want to participate in anything that they have upcoming. That was the Science Museum that was organizing that. So
Aren't they interested in you guys doing this same thing at other schools?
Yeah,
yeah, we're that was the leader of that group, the Science Museum, asked if we did schools or would do other schools, and we indicated we would. So
That's great.
yes, sir.
That'd be a good opportunity, especially second or third schools, so that you can talk about a history of going to visiting schools, get something in a newspaper,
Yeah,
and probably on both the television.
yeah. This one came out relatively quickly. Let's put something together and get it out there. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of publicity that I saw.
Well, and I'm speaking mostly historical. This is what Big Art, BIARC is doing.
Yeah,
Because I mentioned the students are kind of a captured audience. aren't they?
yeah. Well, your trifold was well received, and you know. It was,
Was there enough?
yeah, I printed some myself.
Okay.
They were black
Yeah,
and white. at least that came out.
For futures, in addition to that, I think the ARRL has a trifold that you can print out that is specifically geared towards school children.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, that seems to be a good target audience, especially this time of year. Everybody was in good spirits and having fun.
They all sounded very happy over
Yeah.
the radio.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I understood about 10% of the names.
Where do you live, Billy?
Down in what's called Wawa.
I
You
know.
probably pronounce Wawa.
I heard a few times.
Yeah. I don't really know what else to make for small talk with a school child.
Really, yeah. Name, address, yeah,
Yep.
okay. Well, it was,
Name, rank, and serial number, you know?
yeah, I think Tony has some comments on the PSCC as well.
Yeah, so, actually, the ARRL, I forget the official title, but they have something like a youth coordinator position. So if we did have more contacts, we might want to look at assigning a youth coordinator. And that can be someone under 18 or someone over 18 who regularly works with kids. So that's something we might want to think about. I did want to mention, in case anyone doesn't know, that Doug Wilson and I have a meeting scheduled with Thomas Magno at Civil Defense on the 30th. So next week. Also, we are invited to the Kilauea Military Camp, June 7th, 8th, and 9th, to participate in their tabletop exercise with the county. So that's coming up. I attended the Aries meeting Saturday morning, and the big event that they'll be planning will be the set coming up. They haven't firmed up the date. I'd prefer to do it the first weekend of October, but they're talking about the third weekend of October, which would conflict with Pacific on, I believe. So we'll be planning that at the next meeting, the annual set. I think that's about all I have on the PSCC side.
Thank you. Well, that's the PSCC report.
All right, thank you. And now on to operating. Let's get,
I don't know why you list Gary. Gary's not even on the operating activities. Anyway, okay, so far I was able to coordinate field day, which will be on June 24th at 9 a.m. It's a Saturday. It'll be held in Hilo at Kohio Kalaniani Park. You could talk more about Roy. He knows exactly where it is. And the alternate is Reed's Bay, which is close by. I have two activities set up for that, a fox hunt and a demonstration of an easy antenna setup for portable operating such as field day, POTA, etc. Okay, also, we have upcoming quarterly workshops of radio equipment projects. So we'll be Pro Tools from Williams to use, and we can work on members' radios, radio alignments, replace bed capacitors on the board, etc. And also looking at doing longer distance fox hunts like the size of Puna or Hilo. And we need members on committees to help shape the direction of the club and to ensure work gets done. Any suggestions on the activities members would like to be a part of, please let me know. You can contact me on the 76 repeater, or my email is good on QRZ. Also, what was the other thing? There's two races coming up. The Kau Coffee Run on September 23rd will be 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you're interested in that, let me know and we'll hook that up. And also, I was talking to Stan, 86KO, about bringing Grid Madness back, which is very popular, and nothing definite or guaranteed, but I'm looking into possibly doing a scaled down version of it. Basically maybe just this island and like just 2 meters, so it won't be that overwhelming. And I think that's all I got for operating activities.
the Grid Madness, is it just the volume of people, but,
I don't understand the question.
Why
did
would you
Stan
limit
stop?
the just this?
Oh, because I never did before, and I don't want to have like all these islands and all that work to do. I'd rather at least start small with this island in 2 meters and then see how that goes, and then maybe expand it if it's feasible.
Because well, because the challenge is getting a far, a long distance, and the other islands aren't competing. It's really very.
So there's a couple of challenges with that, publishing the information on the website. Now, if Stan let us use his existing website, then that makes that a lot easier, because everybody knows the URL and it's already got most of the information published. Somebody can copy and paste, just update it for this year.
He also has that spreadsheet that I think he somehow then take everybody's and.
Yeah,
aggregate it.
that's the bigger challenge is, taking the contacts and matching up them with each other so you know the valid contacts. I'm sure that's a lot of work. And then awarding the certificates. So that's what we would need someone to step up to do.
Kind of need to talk to Stan and find out what's involved in aggregating all the, if we don't limit it to no paper logs, that people have to use his spreadsheet. That would,
Well, we could write a program that parses the data out of those spreadsheets and compares it and kicks out errors. And
yeah, I'm not sure how much of that he has.
so here's the thing, we don't exactly have to revive Grid Madness. If we want, we can take the concept and turn it into something that we like, but we took the parts of that we liked out of, but maybe is easier to administer. So, because there were, a lot of questions in the past about, scoring and rig classifications and stuff like that. We don't have to follow the same rules as Grid Madness. We don't have to call it Grid Madness. We can always ask them to call it, if we can call it Grid Madness. But, we can make an equivalent event,
Okay.
just an idea.
Yeah, I mean, send me an email or text, let me know what your thoughts are as how to do that, and anybody else has any thoughts, let me know. I'm not saying set in stone, but I'd like to try.
Mhm. Because I think if we made the scoring a little simpler, then,
Yeah.
that would eliminate a lot of the hassles that he had doing the scoring out of those spreadsheets.
Right.
Good deal. So I got any other questions?
No.
Okay.
And now to program and digital. I'll say most of what I was going to say for the actual business meetings where we're going to, let everybody know, but there's no new activity in the past month that I need to report on.
You have a program set up for next month? An idea?
Nope.
Okay.
But you said, Joe, that you wanted me to do a talk on.
Oh, well, you said the program wouldn't be
Yeah,
long
I-
enough.
Just out of that material that I shared with you, I can't make a full program out of just that. But if others wanted to participate, if we got in some, like if Les brought his Doppler in again, we could do a little bit more and make a full program on direction finding.
That'd be great.
But just off of what I have, that's not, that's a 15-minute PowerPoint at best. But he
Well-
goes real slow in that video. He talks about stuff that we wouldn't include in the
Presentation.
presentation. So it's a
Right.
30-minute video. I can get 15 minutes of talking out of that.
Well, also you have Q&A.
Yeah, but that's unreliable for trying to fill out a
Yeah.
program section.
Right.
Sometimes I've had hours of Q&A, sometimes I've had no questions.
Well, a new topic like this, once you've had that first one or two fox hunts, then people are gonna come in with questions. They know a
Okay.
little bit more about it, and they know what the issues are and stuff, but right now,
And the stuff we've been doing at the field days, that's not really fox hunting. That's the end stage of fox hunting, when you get close to the fox. We haven't done a real fox hunt on this island, as far as I know, in the time I've been an amateur. So,
and here you are planning it when I'm not here.
There'll
well,
be
actually,
others,
no,
Les.
we we want to do, maybe biannual fox hunts,
Yeah.
large scale.
Yeah.
And maybe even mobile tea hunts eventually.
Mobile what?
Mobile tea hunts, that's where you have a moving transmitter that you have to find. It's a.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
And at the moment, we have trouble finding something that's under our nose.
yeah,
So
Well, but
that's down the road.
but that's the end
Yeah.
state,
Yes.
so, I mean, nobody's yet had a chance to actually do triangulation or anything like that, to try to figure out the area of the fox to get to the end game.
Right.
So maybe we should, I mean, I know we're doing the little baby fox hunt at field day, but maybe we ought to push that off until we have the big fox hunt plan. And do a session in advance of that, and then maybe one before the next fox hunt.
So it'd be a
Okay.
dawn
You're saying
to
not to
dusk kind of
remove-
exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Training on how to do fox hunts at field day, some basic pointers.
Yeah. But again, I mean, it's the only thing we're doing is the end stage of the hunt. I mean, it's, when you get to that, it's a very specific skill set, and the stuff that we typically talk about with fox hunting, like triangulating coordinates and using a Doppler to home in and stuff like that, doesn't even apply.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do something on the end stage of fox hunt, but that's not really the whole concept. of fox
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. My question is, what am I gonna put on for that, for operating activities besides putting up a, antenna, which, is that big of
You
a,
know, the field day?
for field day, what activities, if we're not gonna do the fox hunt?
No, we're gonna do that fox hunt.
Oh,
Call it
okay.
Fox hunt orientation. And yeah, as far as other activities, likely to have a GOTA station, I would think, on the air station. Of course, HF, I'm not sure who's gonna be able to bring their rigs. Heads up on that.
I have no idea.
So we've got the one rig from Bayark that, who donated that?
Was that, Jeremy?
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 Yeah, page 7 CM.
Does anyone check that out?
It's funny, he donated that, and he said for one, one was for the sale, and then one.
And then I
for-
saw them both on the auction
And
table.
then
Yeah.
Roy just took it upon himself, because he figures he wanted to sell both of them, so that they get enough money to buy
A better
nine
radio.
eighty-one or
Yeah,
something.
so I was gonna have to talk to Roy and
Yeah, because
Jeremy.
that one unit, wasn't it, like missing a power supply or something, but it pretty much was on the verge of working? Not sure if it was ready.
Yeah, one of them's ready to go, and the other one has some.
Well, and I believe that's the 2-meter, 70 centimeter rig needed a little work. I think the HF rig was working,
Okay,
but immaterial. We're talking about programs though. So the program, we talked about maybe doing a little pre-field day talk on direction finding before field day in the next meeting. But what do we have for a program? for that?
Well, for next meeting, it'd be a good time for me to go over what happens at the county tabletop.
Okay.
About that. But, yeah, kind of a field day orientation is, for me.
Yeah, so I think if I do a little orientation on the end stage of fox hunting for the close game, the putting of fox hunting. And if Tony, you give a little presentation on the outcome of the county meeting. And we do a couple of other small modules on field day prep or field day topics.
Good deal.
Thoughts on what those would be? Maybe a what is field day, where it came from, the history of field day?
well, I can also talk about what we will be setting up at field day.
Yeah.
As far as what will be available, what we're gonna set up, how we're gonna,
What the challenges are?
What model radio was that Jeremy had? Do
I don't remember at the moment.
a little orientation to that radio, so that everyone's comfortable using it.
Mhm.
it's a little older radio, so it's got lots of buttons.
That just makes them better.
Yeah, I'd love to have someone talk about the features on it, so we know. We're not coming
We'll have to find out if
blind.
anybody's used that model before. It's one that I know I haven't used. But I'll talk about the direction finding bit. Tony will talk about some of the county meeting. Jim, you want to talk about the challenges of setting up for field day and how we're going to do it this year?
Sure.
You can talk about a little bit about the past field days and even the winter field day stuff. And anyone want to take on a little talk about the history of field day and the purpose of it? All right, we've got David for that. Thank you.
History.
Now we have a full program.
So you can ask at the meeting today also, we put out the model number of that radio for the group. I bet there's someone in the group that's that has to the radio.
Yeah, I bet it's Glenn.
That dude, you get a whole treatise. I mean, he does not know the concept of shortening his words. I mean, I get tired reading all this stuff. It's ridiculous.
I find it educational.
As long
Sorry.
as it's not directed at me, I find it amusing.
Sorry, it's just how I feel.
Okay, so I do have a thought from the programs committee. I was cruising around on the ARRL site looking for some materials and got into the library and I downloaded the zips of PowerPoints. So presenting isn't the hard part about doing the program, it's having materials to do it.
Yeah.
So one thing I thought I'd mention is that these are all from the classes for doing license upgrades. But you can, oh, I forgot I'm out of help. Oh, I download.
Where did you get these?
The ARRL library.
Really?
Mhm. So there's, some of them are like this, where it's just the questions. That's not so good. But I found that in the general class, I think it is, in the tech class, they have a different format that are actually good for teaching.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So if we're ever hard up for a program, if we need to do a canned program on the spot, we could always do a, deep dive into how to work with decibels. Now, I will say that the way that the ARRL does it is pass backwards, and I think you should have a better way to deal with decibels, but, so these PowerPoints are out there. If you guys want to review through the various modules, you could suggest, specific ones that you think would make a good ad hoc program, and I can present any of them on the spot. So, and then I also have a set of slides that do deep dives into other individualized topics from the electrical engineering courses. So there are a lot of publishers out there that publish textbooks that will give you their slides for their textbooks for free, as long as you have university ties, which I have. So if you guys find a book on a topic that's radio related, let me know and I can log into my accounts and see if I can get slides for it. And that makes doing programs a lot easier, because what kills me for doing programs is trying to put together the slides and stuff in advance.
I like the slides from Grob's, whatever.
Oh,
that
yeah.
goes.
That's Grob's 13th edition. But even better than those, the slides from Delmar's is top notch. So, but yeah, so that's an idea. If you guys go find PowerPoint decks that you think could be good, I think that's an easier way to get people into, doing a program. Because like I said, for me, it's not, I've got no problem standing up and presenting a program. I just don't have the time to prepare one. Another thought came up on the TechNet last week for a program of seeing if the Coast Guard could send anybody to cover GPS and GMDSS topics that would be of interest to amateur radio. That includes stuff like radio direction finding. They are the people doing it every day. They've got Watts and Watt arrays all over the islands for doing radio direction finding. And so I can help with reaching out to those individuals if the program committee would like. But then also even, Civil Air Patrol and other agencies, I think it'd be beneficial if we could start tapping other people to come in and give talks for us.
Oh, yeah,
I think that helps break the,
monotony.
less stale that way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
idea.
that's one of the biggest problems is, we're only tapping the people that are sitting here.
Yep.
You're getting a limited, you're only getting what we like or are interested in. Not necessarily what the general club is interested in.
Yeah, but if you can
And we
get,
know it's very hard to get the club to say what they want.
if you can get a warrant from the Coast Guard to come over for the day, or another one would be the 93rd CST, the, what does that stand for?
Civilian support team.
Thank you, Civilian Support Team, out of Wheeler. They have a comms guy. Used to be Eli, and now it's another kid whose name I can't remember at the moment. Their whole mission is to support MCOM and other emergency management needs, whether it be their specific focus is weapons of mass destruction, hazmat, and stuff like that. But that's always an all-encompassing mission. So they've got the whole comms unit dedicated to it. And so those guys are over here every now and then, and they'd be probably pretty willing to extend to have their comms guy come and talk to us about what it is that they have going on.
That'd be
Stuff
great.
like that.
I'd love
Yeah.
that. If you
Yeah.
could get a contact for Joe to.
Yeah, yeah.
reach out to, just give him a standing invitation.
Yeah.
Get over here.
Mhm.
That'd be awesome.
Well, and those guys, they've got a travel budget, so even if they're not over here, we might be able to get them to come over here for a meeting. Because it's part of their mission.
Hey, William, that presentation that you said was on the ARRL website, what section?
Library.
Been there. Okay.
Yeah, the ARRL has a library. It's not as in-depth as you would have hoped. They used to have, people would submit PowerPoints. And you could go in and be like, oh, hey, that club did a great PowerPoint on this. And you could use that and do a program off of it. But then somebody raised Cain saying that one of the PowerPoints had an image in it that they didn't have the rights to, and they deleted them all.
Oh.
But they have some other resources in there. That's like where the trifold is for school children and stuff like that. Well, and actually, let me pull it back up. There's another one that they have that is.
I'm just amazed how many resources there are on that website. They're just a little bit hard to find.
Yeah, the
You know, you don't
website
know
is
they're
not the
there.
most intuitive. So they've got this, which I think that like doing the schools, I have an
Yeah.
inflatable movie screen. It blows up, I think 12 feet. And you can throw a projector on and just have this on an automatic slideshow. But this is just,
Yeah, that would be perfect. That's, those pictures could have been taken. That's,
I got some ideas I want to talk to you about the next time we go.
yeah,
but yeah, so I mean, these resources are out there.
Yeah.
You just have to know how to navigate the ARRL website to be able to
Right.
get to them. They have a lot of resources like this.
yeah. Because
And like I
that's-
said, for this one, I don't think it's so tasty as a presentation, but having it just as an automated slideshow behind you when you're, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, look,
at
like,
a table at an event or something.
You know, I'm reading the section manager's manual for ARRL, and I'm working pretty closely with Joe Speroni. And I'm also the club services coordinator. And so I'm just learning that role. There's a lot of stuff that they can do for us, flyers and boards and that we really need to get back into. So
Oh, they're doing stuff with our dues. You just-
yeah, and there's a budget that ARRL and Aries has, and I'm learning all the ins and outs of how to order things, how to request things, what things are available. So I think we can get a lot more support for the club through our affiliation with the ARRL and Aries.
yeah. that'd be good. Yeah, I think an introductory slide or show like that would be great for students. because they come up to the radio and it's cold, you know, they don't know what it is or how to relate to it. If you get an intro.
Yeah, they see
slideshow.
somebody in the space station, they see somebody on a
Yeah,
mountaintop, they
yeah.
Field day.
I think we should try to see if we can have a little presentation before we do that with the teachers. I think that's necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pursue that.
Okay, let's move on to voice repeaters with Lenny.
Okay, so I'm gonna abbreviate the report that I'm gonna give to the membership here later on. As you know, so far, this has been the year of delays for us with that clamp that was gonna be fabricated, not having ever materialized, and then we had to go back to the commercial order. They haven't charged my credit card yet. That's what they do the day that it ships. So I know they haven't shipped it yet, but that order is in, so it's in their order flow. So I do expect that to happen soon. And the next steps in that project, we have to install that standoff with those clamps on the Kalani Tower, install the microwave radio in the dish on the Kalani Tower, and install the Ethernet switch and router in the Kalani cabinet. And then we have to do all the same at Pepe Kao. There's still a couple of decisions that we have to make for the Pepe Kao side, because we can either put that dish on the county tower, or we can put it on the Department of Water Supply wood pole, which is actually closer to the shelter than we are in the county tower. Functionally, it doesn't matter to us at all, because the switch that will be powering that is going to be in the county's building, in the county rack on their generator. And that's really why we want it on their side. So the committee asked to make the final decision as to where they want to go. But that has to get worked out, and then we have to decide how we're going to connect back to the broadcaster enclosure that we are in for the repeater, because either we can do an underground conduit and run fiber, or less optimal, run an outdoor Cat5 through it, or we could just run a little point-to-point link, the 50 feet across. But that's
I got a 900 megahertz version.
yeah, well, and a lot of people have the little, what's the square,
SXT, Microtech.
yeah, the Microtech SXT, you know, an SXT is dirt cheap. But I would actually advocate for the fiber option, and it's something I need to discuss with the committee and the digital systems committee, because fiber gets wet, it still transmits. Fiber doesn't require any additional power. It's one less point of failure. The only thing is that we got to go up there and trench and throw in, you know, a couple of lengths of conduit. Wouldn't be terribly expensive. That's something that the committee had kicked down the road a couple of meetings ago, and that needs to get hammered out.
So as far as trenching, we have to follow any kind of regulations or?
Well, I recommend that we do it to code. So that means 18 inches of depth or more, and we have to have a bed of number 4 sand under the conduit. That's that simple.
Is it rock up there? I mean, are we trenching?
It's dirt.
Okay.
I mean,
It sounds like,
either way, I have an excavator. It's not a big deal. Homie don't dig by hand for nothing. Not on this island.
that's what I was concerned with.
Yeah, well, and we may choose to put up, you know, like the equipment Les has, and then we can come back through at a later stage and decide to harden it, which is actually most likely. But then we also have to install a linking computer and a radio interface on the Kalani repeater, and the same on the Pepe Kao repeater. So all that stuff can fall into place really rather quickly once the missing piece of hardware is here.
It's just a standoff, right?
Well, it's the pipe-to-pipe clamp to attach the standoff to the tower. The standoff in this case is going to be minimal. It's just going to be a piece of 2-inch rigid metallic conduit. The thick wall stuff.
As far as access to the FAO site, is there any coordination?
Nope, no coordination required. We have permission to go in and out, and I have the gate codes, and they're now using our locks on the shelter because theirs were faulty. So they're using our code and our combination to get in. That same microwave effort, of course, is going to feed other projects for the Digital Systems Committee, such as connecting the Arden Mesh Islands, maybe hosting digipeters, SDR receivers, network time sources, which is something that we've talked about recently, APRS gates, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a really pivotal moment for the club's infrastructure. Another action item we have is to improve the receipt performance of the Kewaunee repeater. I know I've mentioned it at times, but we lost access to the Kewaunee site. Everybody, the county, everybody lost access to the Kewaunee site because of a mistake that was made in a government agency, and there was hell to pay for that. The access is being re-coordinated. I have not yet tested the new access methods, but the state has agreed to make sure that we can access the site under their sponsorship if needed, because it's a state-owned site. So if the access for the county has been tightened, having the state sponsor us will help grease those wheels. But that has been limiting in some of this stuff. So as you know, we've been battling receiver performance on that repeater for a long time. When we were lucky enough to get into that tower, the tower spot that we got was not a lucky spot. It was on the back of the tower at 50 feet behind microwave dishes and tower legs, and it was immediately adjacent to a broadcaster antenna. And we quickly figured out that taking our receive right there was really problematic. There was a lot of noise. We were lucky enough to be able to borrow a public safety agency's antenna at the bottom of the tower for a while because it wasn't in use. But suddenly they needed to use it and we had to get off of it in a hurry. And I swung us to a temporary antenna, which is on the fence behind the shelter. And it's working. I'm just gonna say it's working. But it's not great. So the board, or not the committee, has reviewed several options, or 3 options, and has approved 2 of them. One of them is to seek the use of a top of tower antenna from a public safety agency on a shared basis. That has been fraught with political speed bumps and landmines. And since the radio system manager at Hawaii County Civil Defense resigned, and now we have a new one in place, I fear those politics may have to start over. Even though we had finally made it to the 95% mark, I think I'm going to have to start over and go through all of this again to convince him that this is an okay thing to do and that there's good reasons to do it. So more to come on that. The other approved improvement is to replace the temporary antenna that we are currently using with a collinear VHF antenna that could be donated to the club. I have one in stock I could donate to the club. The gain is a marginal improvement with that. Really what the benefit is that it improves the capture area because it's a stack of dipoles, and that'll help greatly. And with that, it's a tall antenna, so we get a little bit of height out of it. And we can also mount it a little bit higher. What prevented that from actually happening is that loss of access that we had over the past couple of months to the site. We just couldn't even propose a work party because DLNR wasn't allowing anybody in except for the U.S. Coast Guard. So we will see about putting together a work party to do that, and we'll see about testing that access here soon.
Now, would the be the same route in and out that we did the last work party?
That is not yet known. So that may be a work party limited to people who can go through the prison.
William, who are you going to be dealing with on that power site? Is it Scott and you are at?
Yeah, at the county, it'll be stuff. Would you be meeting Talbot? Should you get with Scott?
I'd like to ask them about that.
Okay.
That's who I really want to talk to.
Yeah, well, I can arrange a meeting with Scott at any time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's wait till after I talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you need to be able to go through the prison?
Background check and
So if you had like a background,
sponsor.
if you, the county, you've had a background check, like for CERT or something.
No, the prison has to do a background
Oh.
check on you. So you have to have a sponsor submit a request. And then the prison has to do a background check on you, and then they give the approval for you to be able to transit to prison.
So you can't just throw together a work party and head up there.
No, no, I knew that back route was gonna be a temporary thing, and that's why I took people up to the site when I could. The issue that caused the state to get mad at the county that restricted access to the site also caused them to learn that people were using that back route in there, and the biologists got mad about that. And they said, oh, they're gonna bring in outside species, they're gonna bring in spores, they're gonna bring in, and yeah, so I don't know if we'll ever get that route back.
Too bad, that was fun.
So other options have been discussed, however, they weren't approved. One of those is using a signal to noise ratio voting comparator to make use of one or more remote receivers. That isn't disapproved, but I'm going to have to educate the committee members significantly on how that works before they're going to be comfortable approving it. So that'll come as time allows. We have, well, and that ties into additional projects, because that was the method of proposed to be able to expand the coverage into the Potawatomi district from the lower Puna district below the lower East Rift zone. So, like I said, that'll come when the time is available to educate the committee on it.
William, back to the first option, the public tower antenna. What are the agencies that are directly involved in that? Does each one have to sign off?
There are two agencies that are involved with it, one directly and one indirectly. The county lacks qualified technical personnel for matters of radio communications. So they had asked it to be reviewed by the State of Hawaii Department of Accounting and General Services, Office of Enterprise Technology Solutions, called a group in there that we just colloquially call the Highwind Group, because that's the name of the radio system they manage. There's a pair of very bright RF engineers in that group. And the county had told me, Ron in specific told me at that time, that if I could run the design by Josh and Vince, and if they signed off on it, he would allow it. So that is all out, it was all out the window now that Ron's gone, and I have to see if Scott is still okay with that, or if he's going to adopt the civil defense attitude and just not even entertain it.
So both county and state then.
That was Ron's rule, but I don't know what Scott's rule is yet. He's too new into the position and he's been out sick, so I haven't even talked to him about any amateur stuff yet.
Well, we kind of wouldn't have any other option, would he? I mean,
Well, he can always say no,
well, other than outright saying no.
but that's their typical response for radio stuff because they don't understand it. So there is one other antenna at the top of the tower. It is used by was used by a state agency. Their equipment is currently dead. I've been trying hard to get them to agree to let me use it, but the guy that officially makes that decision is not very courageous.
Anything federal related to that side now at this point?
No, there are federal agencies in that site. The Coast Guard owns a shelter up there. They own the generator and they support the tower.
How about the FBI? They still involved?
I am not allowed to comment as to where the FBI homes their equipment. So we have e-power projects that are ongoing in concert with the Digital Systems Committee who's heading the projects. The Pepicao site and Mauna Loa site are the two next targets for e-power improvements. There was a small UPS that was going to be put in place at Pepicao. I don't remember what emergency I had where I had to cancel that work party, but I do remember we had to cancel that work party and it hasn't happened yet. Since then, I have received a donation of 2 industrial UPSs. Whereas the small UPS, it gives a couple of minutes of e-power. This industrial UPS could probably stretch that to possibly even a day. So the donation to the club for that hasn't happened yet, but it will. And the committee is going to have to consider what to do with that if the club accepts the donation. The recommendation from the committee chair, me, is going to be to put the battery shelves, because we have a total of 3 battery shelves, and one of the UPSs at Epicao. And then one UPS only with a small internal battery shelf at Kewaunee to bridge the gap from utility outage to generator start. The other site that we're targeting is the Mauna Loa site. There was a plan to put in a solar array and a 24-volt battery plant. However, the recent eruption of Mauna Loa delayed that. And then we ended up cannibalizing our repeater up there to be able to bring up repeaters for the public safety outage for Pahakaloa Training Area Fire Department, Police Department. And when that goes back in, the Digital Systems Committee is running that project, but I imagine we'll probably rebuild that entirely. So talking about Mauna Loa, the committee hasn't approved the plans as of yet, but there has been discussion of converting that site to use transmit combining and receiver multi-coupler so that we can run multiple repeaters or even other elements off of that antenna in that cabinet and running separate repeaters, one for C4 FM and one for DMR. That way it's not a mix and match, it's dedicated hardware for it, and we could use a dedicated DMR repeater and connect that however we want, but then we have a C4 FM repeater up there that we can connect into the larger scale C4 FM repeater project that Les is heading.
That's the Mauna Loa you're talking
That's the
about?
Mauna Loa
Yeah,
site.
okay.
So we have a DR2X already installed at Kewaunee and a number of DR1Xs. Les is working on a home for a DR2X that he was intending to donate for the club. So if we add a DR1X with the capability, hopefully if we can do the upgrade up there, then that could tie into that same IMRS linking, which would require backhaul. Which is something that we currently don't have. And that's why that repeater fell out of use, was because WH6FM's microwave link died. That tower is in extremely poor disrepair and nobody has been courageous enough to climb the tower. And I'm not going to be the one that does it. We've looked at some options, even using a boom lift or things like that. I actually have another option for that. And this is something that I got to take to the committee and we'll have to bring to the board. If we install the link, the microwave dish to Kalani Cone at Pepekeo on the wood pole, we can instead install a dish on the county tower that points at the state's Waikea Tower. In exchange for that, the state would give us a bit of bandwidth on their Inui Coast Guard, their project with the Coast Guard, the Inui microwave. And that would allow us to shoot directly across the saddle to the Humalula site, or just shoot right up the road to the Coast Guard site, which is the next tower up from us, and be able to connect in that way. And then we could have one internet connection that feeds anything that needs internet facing connectivity throughout the entire microwave network. We use that microwave link across Kalani to Pepekeo, and then it would shoot the microwave link from Kalani to Humalula on the state network. So more going on there. So we have two donations, one that was already approved, it's in the back of my truck right now, and that is 4 MSR 2000 repeaters, which are VHF capable, but much, much older than the equipment that the club is using at the moment. We had said that we would get those and then facilitate getting those to other clubs. Eric Grabowski is going to come to the meeting today to take them off of my hand for the North White Community Hospital Club, and he's going to try to get one of those over to HRC. We have another donation that is coming our way. I shipped the equipment to myself from Kauai, and we're going to get over $100,000 of modern radio equipment.
Wow.
There are 9 GTR 8000 repeaters in there. Those are priced at $12,000 a piece.
Wow.
These are current production public safety grade repeaters. Those MTR 2000s we have, those are, you know, circa 1993. These are circa 2005. I mean, it's pretty modern stuff, still in current production. There's a couple of GPS disciplined oscillator shelves in there. There's networking equipment and other pieces like that. So I still have to do the paperwork with the state to get that done. And that's coming. However, that's going to allow a significant upgrade to our UHF repeater fleet. The MTR 2000 repeater that is for general use, but was put up with the idea of forked land cert, is in the process of being moved still, or has that?
It's at their container, but I just need to go up there. They need to put another antenna on their tower. And when they do that, then we'll get it all set up, but it's actually on site.
Okay. So there's a couple of projects that these are softly earmarked for, but there's also 9 of them. So that's quite a few repeaters. I think we have 3 projects earmarked to make use of them. Plus, we've got the older MTR 2000s. I've got a couple of Quantars that I never donated to the club that I might get. So we have probably on hand 20 UHF repeaters available for club projects. So the committee's got to make plans to make use of these, and I think that we ought to direct the committee to, as they deem fit, donate older equipment to other clubs. So discussion on that?
Yeah, I moved to solicit information from the repeater committee on exactly what they suggest we donate.
Yeah, well, that'd all have to be approved by the board, but, you know, I think we have to task the committee with, you know, trying to find homes for some of the older equipment, because it's not good sitting around on the shelf. We proved to sit on the shelf too long. They actually go bad. We had one of them go poof on the table at the Hamfest and trying to set it up. So
I'd also like to remind everyone that I need to get documentation. I've seen no documentation on any of this, these recent donations.
yeah, well, the donations haven't, these ones haven't officially happened yet.
Okay.
So the donation documentation can't come until everybody signs off on it.
So I actually have not added anything in the last year to our insurance policy.
That's correct, because so far all of that stuff is covered under my insurance policy. So to keep from bloating our insurance policy, unless it's installed in the field, because I gave the Quantar serial numbers, the 2 Quantars that we have out there, and the DR2X, but everything else isn't in the field, so I'm just covering under my insurance. So thoughts on directing the repeater committee to see if they can rehome some older equipment?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely might help it's public relations between other 2 clubs. And I don't know, it seems a little frosty to us.
At 1:03, Roy, KH6KU, join the meeting.
That's for you, Lou.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, just making a note that you joined, so on the recording, Joe knows who's here. Okay, so Tony, did you actually make a movement to that?
Yes, I move we direct the repeater committee to give us a list of recommended equipment to donate.
I'll second that.
So we're just, the repeater committee motion is just to make a list of which repeaters go.
Equipment to be, not just equipment, because we have more than repeaters. We also have maybe a dozen UHF radios, mobile radios that could be run in headless configuration. We don't have control heads for them. But, so those could be used for, you know, VARA nodes or pretty much anything but APRS, UHF.
Jim, did you second that?
Yes, I second that.
Who was the first?
Tony, motion.
Tony made the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against?
You guys got repeater equipment or something?
There's a donation, I have the equipment, I just have to go through, I gotta send asset tags to one agency, I've gotta run serial numbers through this database, I gotta do a whole bunch of state process to get this officially declared surplus equipment. And then there's $100,000 of repeater equipment that's gonna get donated to the club.
I got one better than that. I just came from Pat Chu's house. He's got 3 complete repeater cabinets with cans and everything in the garage. The widow wants it gone. Wow. Big cabinets, all complete, repeater, duplexes, everything, all in. Cans, the whole deal. He's got UHF, I think he's got 2 UHF and maybe 1 VHF repeater in there. And it's got tons and tons and tons of repeater equipment.
I've been there, it's nice stuff.
Right? And she just wants it gone. Not asking anything for it, just take it away. I said, I'll talk to you today. Good time to bring it up to the board. So if you want it, you know, if you use for club use, whatever, she said, just take all the repeater stuff. I just came from there. His boys, whoever he hangs with, kind of swept through the whole thing and took all the DMR stuff, radios and whatnot, but they left all that big stuff behind, repeaters. And they left a big aluminum antenna, which I spent all morning dismantling for HF, but so they have a use for that. But the repeaters itself, like Tony said, good stuff. Yeah, plenty stuff up there. And just one garage full of stuff that you would understand. Because, you know, I told Penny that if anything, you come by, somebody will come by and grab it.
Okay, or is that it? Does the board want to entertain taking donations of that equipment?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, that looks. Yeah.
I'll
Make a motion.
I'll make the motion that we accept the donation.
I think one is an all-star. One is also an all-star repeater. An all-star
Second that?
DMR, you know.
Any second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you need help,
Yeah, I'll
let me
give it
know.
to
Let me, if you need help, let me know, I can help you.
Motion passed.
All right, so that's it for the repeater committee.
If you need help storing some of that stuff, like.
Okay, storage.
You can make a
No.
repeater that alone?
No, I'm not gonna have time for that, talking about.
Okay, we're on the educational and outreach, Les.
Well, that's all. Two, four. And this is what I'm gonna present to the members of the meeting.
One more.
At 2.
Thank you.
So that is what it's for there.
You can control the camera remotely. Oh, it's this.
But yes, I can. So like I can switch to the other camera. I can-
That's pretty cool.
Which I forgot my webcam, so it's actually my iPhone right there.
Les, did you get the the first edition of the ARL? Oh, no, it was Ian, Jim.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did have one more comment to make on the website, if I may. So I'm of mixed feelings about our current site design versus moving to a modern site design. I really like the efficiency of how our website is and it loads and its simplicity. So I've looked at other options, including the going with third-party companies that will basically make it easy, like Squarespace. That's too much money, monthly charges. And then there's the potential to move to the more modern publishing environments, what you see is what you get style, drag and drop. Unfortunately, they're not as simple as they make themselves out to be. And when I tried out that idea with Lee Critchlow, she wasn't really able to move forward. So what we've got right now, in my opinion, is very simple and efficient. Doesn't work well with smartphones, but it's simple and efficient and it's old school. So anybody that has HTML knowledge can jump in. I'm kind of thinking, our group, we've got older people that may have been involved in basic HTML in the late 80s and 90s. I'm not sure if we want to move to a more modern publishing environment.
What would the need be?
Well, make it self-adapting for smartphone display. That's kind of an important thing.
You can do that with an HTML site though.
You could, but I'm not really in a position to do that.
No, but what I'm saying is that we could do a device sense and port it over to an M.dot page. And just have the same page, but in a reduced text format or something.
Well,
There's automated tools that'll take the page and then condense the HTML down to a mobile friendly view. And then you just do m.byart.net and you've got a mobile friendly page.
yeah, so that's, I guess, the need, and I'm not sure how to implement it. Basically, the modern tools are self-adapting. They'll automatically detect what kind of client's logging in, and they'll reformat the page on the fly. Anything we do ourselves, it's going to need someone who has the time to look into it and do it, and that's not going to be me. So I guess we have to drive it based on who volunteers to step up. We're really looking for somebody that can help out with the website. But it's not, I wouldn't call it urgent. I don't know if as far as adapting to mobile phones, I guess if we're getting a lot of youth involvement in the club, maybe then it becomes urgent. But
Probably a few months down the road.
from my point of view, it seems like it's okay.
Yeah, but I think that if we need to focus on stuff like that, where we're trying to cater the media access to a younger crowd, I don't think a web presence is the way to do that. We'll probably do that through enhanced social media presences or stuff like that. Social media.
Yeah, that's the other advantage of modern publishing environments. It makes it really easy to take content from that's posted to the web and have it echo out to multiple social media sites. And that's not something that would be so easy to be made.
Does the buyer club have a social media presence?
I don't
Does it have a Facebook page, an Instagram account?
Facebook pages, Facebook pages are for people like us.
It would just be too hard to keep, if we did that, we would have stuff in each area.
No,
And it
then
would
you
get
can have
updated
it,
in one place and not another.
no, you can have it, no, because once you post something on the website, it will automatically post to the social
No,
media.
Only if
That's
we
not
have
the
a
case.
modern.
That's only if,
publishing
yeah, that's
environment.
only if we go with a more modern website.
With our old style website, no, we don't have that capability. It's a manual process.
You're not gonna attract the younger.
But we can actually do it the other way around. We can make it so if we post stuff on social media, it can automatically post to the website.
Or just link the website to it.
Yeah. So I'd much rather, have a better social media presence than a better website.
Reasonable.
But I'm with Les. I've got a Facebook account. I technically have Instagram, but I don't use it because that's where all the kids hang out.
Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah, if we wanted to go there, I think we'd have to let a youth person, kind of make a recommendation since we're pretty out of touch with where they're at now.
And Facebook's starting to turn into MySpace.
It's still more social contact than I want.
So are you making a motion, Tony, to leave it as
No,
is?
I
or-
was just explaining this.
Yeah, yeah. I like your approach. Put the link on the on a media site to the existing website.
Do you have anything else on education outreach? Les?
I have an addition that Gary mentioned about maybe doing something with public access TV, maybe some kind of a presentation program, explanation, something to get, ham radio out there, more in public.
I thought you were proposing another Max Headroom incident.
No. I don't know, just a thought for publicity, if anyone has any, feedback, that'd be great.
Do people actually look at the public access?
No.
Yeah, I don't have cable, I don't have cable.
It'll be a lot
TV.
easier to just-
Yeah.
It'll be a lot easier to just, make like a little webcast thing and just blast it out on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I
and
think
stuff.
social media would be a better platform for that.
Yeah, Facebook Live or what's those other streaming ones like? YouTube. YouTube, Instagram.
YouTube is huge. YouTube, you can do a whole
TikTok.
program that we're talking about. Blast it on YouTube. That's way more, you'll have way more access than public TV at that point. And if you have a YouTube premium account, I think I have one, it's
I have
like
one.
$15 a month.
No, Badger Grace is 18.
Or whichever, but still.
Those local things are only. if you
Back
have
in my
cable.
day, it's 11.
Yeah, If you're watching live TV, then that has to be the line. Because those local ones are just if you're on cable.
Nobody watches hardly TV, everything is streaming now. Almost everything is streaming.
Yeah, I think that was really
I'm
put
just
in
getting
there
my
for years ago for when cable first came out, it was part of the agreements to give the local community,
Right.
It's free. You can blast stuff on social media.
unless one of your kids or grandkids are gonna be on it, you don't watch it.
I did prepare a quick and dirty sign-in sheet for the meeting, and I marked everybody here as signing.
Okay, thank you. All right, on to old business.
Finish. sorry.
What we,
About they said the old business would be the budget for field day under old business.
yeah, so for field day, so you and,
But you mean the expense authorization?
Yes,
We
yes.
already have the budget.
It's already what?
It's already budgeted.
I didn't know that. How much is it budgeted for?
So we put it all into one catch-all category
Okay,
called club activities, right?
okay.
And so did you go over the treasurer's report?
We
while I was
did.
gone?
It was approved.
Okay. All right.
We've had to
So,
vote online, so it's-
In that bucket is $400.
Oh, wow.
But that's the club activities.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the operating activities
The operating
committee's
activities.
budget essentially.
Okay, okay.
That's like earmarks set aside, but you still have to, make specific recommendations and you'll, turn in the invoices.
What specific recommendation you talking about? Like what I'm gonna buy? Like
Yeah,
soda?
keep the board informed about,
Oh, and that's what you're doing now. So if you say,
Right.
oh, you know, we've got
We-
field day coming up, we'd like to buy,
No.
Water, ice.
I would say up to 200, but will probably be less than that, but just in case, hot dogs, buns, ketchup,
just say food.
food and drinks and ice and things, whatever else.
I move to approve an expenditure authorization for field day of up to $250, subject to receipt.
I'll second that. Discussion?
Why'd you leave that with me?
Because you're functioning as a
Oh, you're,
runner of the meeting.
oh, right, you're donating it to the club, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim, did you get that? You made a motion, I seconded.
And the motion was to the $250.
Allocate up to $250 for field day expenses.
Everybody, all that say aye?
Aye.
Anybody say nay? Nope.
So that's how
Motion
it's
passed.
done. Keep it simple.
Fair enough.
General, so you don't restrict yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, so when you say, oh, 200, but we'll probably be under, I've had that bite me before. That's why I gave you the extra 50. I mean,
I-
if the tax comes in a little higher,
I
whatever.
appreciate that. That's all I had. Anything else, whole business?
Yeah, you said status of circuit repeater, that's, like I said earlier, it's the circuit, it's at the CERT command center in their shipping container. It needs to be installed, which is really just a matter of connecting it to the antenna and it's sweeping it. And, make sure that wanted to see if any club members want to come up when we do it, because we're going to use the VNA to make sure that the diplexer or duplexer, which I think the duplexer is still okay since it bounced around in vehicles for quite a while.
Diplexer would be splitting two bands.
Okay,
So you said before, they just need an antenna or?
they have the antenna. Right now, on the top of their tower, they have a J-pole.
Hmm.
But they want to keep doing two options, one using the J-pole and then using the duplexer, so one go to their VHF, their their FT991, and then the other one go to the UHF, go to the port, go to the repeater. That was one option. The other option was mounting a second antenna. They have a Diamond X50A that they might want to put like slightly lower down on that, or put one of them up at the top and one below it. And then have this way, the 991 will operate UHF, VHF, not have to worry about somebody, trying to transmit on a UHF and messing things up. Because that would be bad.
Well, it just
It'd be
reflect
bad-
into the
it'd be
radio.
bad for the radio, but.
It would just reflect the power back into the radio.
Yeah, so it'd be bad for the 991, so we have to, they need to take their tower down anyway, so then we can put a pulley so we can pull up a HF antenna also. So we have to coordinate with them because he has to lay his antenna down. So there's two steps: bring the antenna down, mount the new antennas, put it up, and then get the repeater up and going. So that's where that is currently.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of scheduling and getting people together. So hopefully it'll happen in the near future. Seems like months always pass, but when it actually comes down to doing it. So that's it on the circuit repeater. We spoke about speakers and presentations earlier. Search for committee members. I'm not sure what he's referencing there. Other than it's always an ongoing problem, getting people to join committees. So that's just something we need to push on nets and when talking to people. They bring up an idea and say, no, you really should join this committee. That would be, then you could, maybe we can get some of your ideas implemented.
Yeah, yeah.
Any, I don't think there's any other old businesses there, not that he didn't list.
There is other old business, but we have no updates on it. An old business item that we're still kicking the can on is finding a storage location for the club.
I'm sure. So now on to new business. Anybody have any new business?
Yeah, Roy actually had mentioned, the Boy Scouts, at least the ones that, his son just recently went to. They don't have they have the radio merit badge, but they don't do it. So I was thinking maybe we can have some members talk to them and do a little presentation on ham radio, and see about putting a class together, something to that effect. It's not a fully formulated idea. We just talked about it last night.
Boy Scouts of America has a PowerPoint and syllabus for the radio merit badge class. And I, by the way, have my radio merit badge.
Yeah, but nobody here, the local troops, nobody even, I asked even the scoutmasters about the radio merit badge, and they're like, nobody knows. But there's no presence.
That's what happens. You get what the fathers are interested in.
Yeah, but they have that Aloha Council building on the bottom of Steinbach. That's the lady you gotta go talk to because she's the one that gets in touch with all the troops. And that's BSA, yeah, that's the main headquarters. And when they do their what they call those things, coveries and the jamborees, they do it right there in the big field. It's a prime area to set up a radio setup right
Yeah.
there.
So I mean, we could contact them and make our services available, so at least they know that it's a resource.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because they may not do it now because there's nobody qualified to teach it or do it. So
Well, like I said, in scouting, you pretty much get what the parents are interested in
Yeah.
as the activities,
mhm.
because that's who's coordinating everything at the troop level.
Right, they don't have a merit badge for beer yet. A lot of the dads, all they do is just drink the whole time they campus.
We could probably find a way to fit that into a merit badge.
I know a lot of places they are because I mean, the last 3 years I've made contact with the
Yeah, the
the jam,
mainland is big.
on the mainland with the
Scouts.
where they're having the jamboree.
Yep.
So I know they're active in it.
So I think that'd be cool for our scouts here to contact somebody up there. They all do the jamborees about the same time of the year. That might get interesting ham radio for the young guys.
Roy, tell me again who that contact point was.
I don't know if she's still there because she may have retired. But if you go to the if you're going up Steinbach Highway, so you're coming out of town, instead of going up by the Zoo Road, you turn up the first one, that little turnoff, and then up there on the left side, there's the old pen where the Kulani workers used to park their cars, and directly across is the I forget the name. It is Aloha Council Boy Scouts of America building over there. You drive in there, and there's a huge brown building, and the lady's right there in the front. There's only one door that you can go in. She's right there. It's really helpful.
Well, a topic they cover heavily in the radio merit badge is radio direction finding. Because it's a search and rescue thing.
The box has that'd be a activity. I think they get points, for also making radio contact. On the
It's required.
yeah, you gotta make a contact out like somewhere. So that that sets it right up for a traditional field day. I mean, perfect. Yeah, emergency situation, the scouts whole thing about being able to be ready and go out in the woods and survive. This is not survival skill. Being able to have communication set up. Yeah, like a good push on it.
Any other?
I hope that we delegate to the Public Service Communications Committee, the task of attempting to establish relationships with the Aloha Council, PSA.
William seconds that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, any other old business?
Well, I think we're in new business.
Oh, we're not, any other new? Sorry.
I have an item. It relates back to something we were talking about before. I'd be willing as trustee to establish social media presence on the typical platforms. And report back to the board what kind of engagement I get, if at all, from the community.
Do we take a vote on that?
Yeah, I guess actually I would kind of need to be given permission by the board to serve as a representative facing social media.
Okay, well, that would be part of the education and outreach committee.
It would be, but with them not doing it, I'm willing to step up and do it with them. Or for them, I don't know, however you phrase that.
Any motion?
I move that we establish William NH60P as the social media coordinator under the direction of the education and outreach committee. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? No?
So I gotta add
Motion-
you to my committee.
Motion passed.
No, I'm just,
You just have to obey it.
yes.
Okay, on to announcements.
One announcement, the club's received a donation that we need to formally approve from Les Hittner, K0BAD, of this Anytone ATD 578 UV radio. It's a tri-band DMR radio, so to be really good for club activities, and it's also capable of DMR. Another key point of this is this radio is Part 90 certificated, so it can also be used to engage with pre-authorization on the Part 90 frequencies that public safety agencies are using. So if we were ever called forth to assist in any way, if they told us to talk on one of what we call the skip must carry channels, this radio is legally able to do that.
I move that we accept the donation from Les Hittner of his Anytone.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right? Thank you, Les.
Thank you, guys. It's awesome radio. Right, man. 220 megahertz. then?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 220 at 5 watts, I think, 5 or 10.
That band works. You see what that thing does.
Oh, yeah, that is a fantastic band.
I made
But
contact all the way
what-
across the Oahu with that thing. and-
What keeps it down is that there's just not a lot of commercial equipment available for that band. Otherwise, Hams would be using it more.
But it's quiet. It's really nice.
It is a nice quiet band.
And
So it's personally, I think that band's really good for really tough repeater linking. You know, where you don't want to do it on 2 meters because of size constraints, but 70 centimeters isn't going to get over the train quite well enough. It's a good compromise band.
Is it easy to get equipment for, like, I mean, the cans for,
No,
no.
but you can adapt other cans on their third harmonic to do it. So
So when you say that, then it would have to be a bigger can.
yep, you use a 2 meter can and you cut it on the plunger to raise the frequency of its, well, I guess, no, if you use the 2 meter cans, you cut down the frequency or cut down the rod to make it a quarter wave resonator on the inside. So, and then,
So it's still big cans.
yeah, well, relatively, but you can also use,
there's several smaller ones set for that frequency, those little Chinese ones.
yeah, people do actually sell cans for it.
Same price then as the, you know, the little black.
Yeah,
one?
But the problem is the frequency spread is too wide typically.
Oh, what is the split of 220 anyway?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go look it up. I don't even remember off the top of my
So
head.
2 meters is 600 and then,
Yeah.
the other is 5
Five-
megahertz.
that was 5 megahertz, yeah.
It's gotta be half then. What, 2,000? That'd be good, then we can do that big as a can.
It's a 1.6 megahertz split according to the Hawaii band plan at hawaiirepeaters.net. So, but those little ones, the minimum split on those is usually 3 megahertz. So that's where you gotta be careful when you, I noticed that once on eBay, I was like, oh, hey, 220, oh, no, that won't work. But I could make something, 1.6 megahertz, you could probably do that with really high Q stubs, like 7/8 coax stubs.
Okay. Any other announcements?
One question, that's to Les. The C4FM project. Wasn't in your, I didn't see anything in your report, but can you give a status on where we stand on that?
No, it wouldn't be in my report.
That was in my report.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was being run.
Yeah, so we have the DR2X already installed at Kalani. It's been used a number of times.
Yeah,
There's the project to try to home Les's DR2X somewhere in Hilo. That's at a number of speed
And
bumps.
I need to corner this guy
okay.
on the roof of the,
You're right, that is what we're waiting on. We got to do a site walk over at the
The
building.
Lagoon Center?
Oh, okay.
at the Lagoon Center.
Yep.
Okay, I was being selfish. I've got a C4FM.
And do we still have a cabinet?
We have several
I got
cabinets.
tons of cabinets.
So
Yeah.
That one would.
Buried in
require-
grass now, but they're still there. I
Yeah,
think they
that
can-
one would require a cabinet.
Oh, yeah, yeah, there's some buried. I gotta, you know.
And then there's one of those, the committee is considering putting in at Mauna Loa, if we can do receiver and transmitter combining up there to run multiple UHF repeaters. And then we still have 2 DR1Xs on top of that.
Are you able to hit the Kulani one from where you're at? The Kulani C4FM? So I probably make the most use of that C4FM repeater than anybody else.
Hmm.
I'm on that thing like every single day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Morning and night. He probably gets tired of hearing me on that thing.
I'd like to coordinate with you on that.
Him and Paul,
Yeah.
the 2 sandbaggers, just listening the whole time. While we get there, yap, yap, yap on the
You know, I haven't been
computer.
there in a while. Do you still do that net?
No, I haven't because we're waiting for the linking. So we can, once the linking goes in place, then we'll be wide open, then we
And
can get
I ran a
everyone.
wires extra set up for a while. But then we stopped doing it.
Yeah, Blake has his one still set up, the Hawaii one, 31150 or whatever.
Yeah.
That one's still there, so we can link to that.
But he keeps getting on, they talk about CB stuff
Oh, yeah,
all the time. And I know that's because the rest of you guys can't hear.
It's C4FM, not CBFM.
nobody make use of it, I can talk whatever I want.
I'm gonna be looking for you.
Yeah, go on the Kalani repeater, I'm on every morning, every afternoon, like clockwork.
Jim, if there's no further business, then let's move to the,
Yeah, the next meeting will be June 11th. And there's nothing else, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Very good. I'm going to stop the recording.
Very good.
Right.